So life has changed from you. You went from being all on your own to getting married to having kids, and now you want to start to take life pretty seriously. You want to make sure that you're providing the best life for your kids, you're taking care of them, that all the things that need to be done are done. And this is where we're here to help. I'm going to walk you through today the 8 steps to setting up your family for success and exactly what you need to do. So first thing that you need to do is you need to create a budget. So some people use reverse budgeting, some people use regular budgeting. We'll walk through both. So budgeting is really just all about being able to manage your cash flow. It's really hard to plan for your future if you don't know what you make minus what you spend. You have to have a surplus, which is just additional dollars that can go towards planning for your future. So reverse budgeting is the opposite approach. So reverse budgeting says, hey, here's all the goals that I have. Here's what it's gonna take dollar-wise to accomplish them. Whatever's left over, I can spend. Whichever approach works better for you, you should run with. But it's really important to manage your cash flow and make sure that you have extra dollars to be able to be saved for the future. Step 2 is to get insured. So this is something that is often overlooked by people, but you need to have the proper insurances in place. You need health insurance. You need disability insurance to make sure that if you are no longer able to work, you still have income to help your family. And then you really do need life insurance. So a lot of people think, well, I don't want to have too much life insurance. Well, I don't want to leave my family better off than when I left. But I don't think that's really the way that you want to approach it. If something were to happen where you were no longer here, you'd want to make sure your kids were taken care of, that your spouse would not have to just instantly figure out how to increase income, that there'd be child care. You want to make sure that you have the proper insurance to take care of them. So when they have to go through that terrible period of time, money isn't the biggest issue. Next one is that you want to build an emergency fund. This is crucial. So I always say that you should have somewhere between 3 to 6 months of expenses built up. So if you know, hey, I spend $7,000 a month, you're going to want anywhere from $21,000 to $40-ish thousand in your emergency fund. And it's really to help weather whatever storm that you face. It could be car engine going out. It could be furnace at your house. It could be loss of job. It could be major medical expense. Whatever it is, you need cash on the sidelines to deploy to be able to weather whatever storm you have without having to swipe a credit card, which leads me into 4. Number 4 is pay off any high interest debt you have. And so high interest debt is relative for different people. I normally think of it as anything really above 6%, especially above 8%. You want to get rid of this debt as fast as you possibly can. I mean, think about it. You have a $10,000 debt on a credit card that's at a 25% interest rate. That means in that given year, you have $2,500 of interest to pay if you're not really attacking that debt. That is so much wasted money, and you can get in that rabbit hole and it can be really hard to get out of. So any high interest debt, we're going to attack that as quickly as we can after we've built up some in our emergency fund. Step 5 is to save for your retirement. So normally people start with their 401k, especially if you have a match. It's good to consider contributing up to that match to get those free dollars. And then there's Roth IRAs and there's a ton of other accounts, taxable investment accounts that you can use, but you want to make sure you're starting to save for your retirement early. I often see a lot of parents say, ooh, I'm a little bit delayed. Now I'm going to focus on kids' education first. And while that's a really selfless thought and it's a good idea, you can't take loans out for retirement. Your kids can take loans out for college. And also you could agree that, hey, I can't help pay for college up front. You're going to take some loans out, but I'll help you pay those payments when you graduate as a way to help you because I have to focus on my retirement now. Next one is to start a health savings account. So an HSA. This is super overlooked. A lot of people use an HSA, they put money in, they spend it every year. And while that isn't bad because of the triple tax benefits, which basically means if you put money into an HSA, it reduces your taxable income today, which is huge. Then you can invest that money, it grows tax deferred, and then you can use it tax-free on healthcare costs. So a lot of times people just use the HSA to pay for healthcare costs this year, but you miss out on that tax benefit of allowing it to be invested for a number of years. If you're somebody who can't afford to put money in the HSA and pay for healthcare costs out of pocket, well then using the HSA would make sense. But if you're somebody that can afford to pay healthcare costs out of pocket, it might make sense for you to consider leaving that money in that account and letting it grow for the future. And then the last 2 is save for college. So I talked about, hey, maybe that doesn't come before retirement, but now if you still have extra free dollars, saving for college is something that can be really good. You just have to decide, what do I want it to look like? Do I want it to be private school? Do I want it to be public school? Do I want to pay for 50%? Do I want to pay for 100%? And then figure out what you're you're going to have to save and invest yearly to get there. You can use a taxable investment account. You could use a 529 plan, and those are better depending on which state that you're in. But you have a bunch of different options, but you just have to figure out how much that you need to save for it. And then step 8 is start a taxable investment account. So if you've already used all of your tax advantage accounts, your HSAs, your 401ks, your Roth IRAs, your taxable account can be really great. So it doesn't have those same tax benefits, but it's money that you can be used at any period of time. So unlike the other ones where you normally have to wait till retirement, this account you can pull money out at any time. You want to make sure that you're investing based on the time horizon. So, hey, if I'm going to need this money in 10 years, I'm not going to want to take as much risk. And by risk, I mean, you don't want to have, just Tesla and Amazon and individual stocks in there. You're going to want to have more of a portfolio mix between diversified ETFs and some bonds to set you up for your future. But those are the 8 steps to setting up your family for success. I hope this is helpful for you. We'll see you back for another episode next week.